Dragon videos, and I hope y'all are doing well. So we say a bitter goodbye to our beloved main story, our cast, and our characters. So for this list, I'm going to go over some very sad and sympathetic characters. Characters who've been through their own kind of hell and definitely deserve a big hug and some ice cream. So, it mostly will depend on how bad the situation will be in a relatable sense. And of course, this is just my opinions alone, so you don't have to agree. But get ready to have your heart ripped out and once again go through memory lane as we go through top 10 sympathetic characters in The Owl House. Oh, and be warned of spoilers ahead. So, when we're introduced to the Blight parents, we thought that both of them were pretty controlling and awful people. I mean, after all, they forced a little girl to choose her friend's future over their friendship via blackmail. That's pretty messed up. However, when you get to actually see Odalia and Alador in action, you definitely see that Odalia's the one in the relationship, the pants in the relationship, I should mean. And yeah, we can understand why we all hate her at this point. As for Alador, he was just, he was so lifeless you'd think that he's nothing more than a humanoid version of an abomination. He barely had a thought of his own, just watched everything go by. But when you learn about the reasoning of his exhaustion, you'd understand why.
This much security for the Day of Unity? Perhaps we should reconsider this deal.
Blights always uphold their end of the deal, dear. Or should I reconsider ours? It might be time for the kids to play a more active role in Blight Industries. I could start the paperwork right now.
While I was recovering from the fire flu, she fired half my team and expected us to continue working at the same time. Did I mention I haven't had a weekend off in 5 years? Oh, sorry. Fire flu sighted.
Oh my god, someone please give this poor man divorce papers and possibly see a doctor? Because this man's been abused emotionally and not physically, but you could definitely see the abuse there. And you don't have to be a relationship therapist just to see it. On top of that, he is basically in a different position than Andy and Light Twins. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to actually feel bad about this guy. He's somehow wound up in a toxic marriage over Odalia, and even now I still puzzle of how they got into this relationship in the first place. However, there are still more sympathetic characters to come, so get ready. In the beginning of the series, Lilith came off as very cold and calculating, practically hell-bent on bringing Ida back to the Emperor's Coven. Well, technically they didn't join, but she wanted nothing more than to heal her sister of a curse that she brought on.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear
Ida was very
thoughts
talented
build
with
up
magic
until
more
I can't
than
hear
Lilith was.
that my mind
Lilith
fills
was
up into a
only
creature,
struggling to
and
get
it haunts
her
me
mom,
somewhere much
Gwendolyn,
deeper.
to actually notice
Anxiety,
her and
filling up every
acknowledge
space,
her,
no privacy.
which I'm pretty sure some
And silently,
older
it could build and build
siblings
until you finally see, whoa, it's
So,
taking over,
she
damn no
tried
closure,
her
moving
best to
closer.
fix her mistake
No
because
exposure,
of
I
her
just
curse.
wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
person
I got
has been
nightmares in my
petrified
head,
for
I
good.
fear that the thoughts
Realizing
build up
horrendous
until I
mistake,
can't hear,
Lilith
that my
tries her
mind
best to
fills up
redeem
into a
herself by
creature,
helping out losing
and
Kid
it
Nikki
haunts
the
me
bat,
somewhere
and
much
thus cutting off
deeper.
ties with
I got
Universe Punk
nightmares
forever.
in my head, I
From there,
fear
it's a
that
bit of
the
a
thoughts
shaky
build
road
up
for
until
her.
I can't
I mean,
hear,
true, she didn't
that my
exactly get a
mind
whole lot of
fills up
screen
into
time
a
from her arc,
creature,
but
and it
give her
haunts me
writers some
somewhere
credit
much
for
deeper.
trying.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good.
Okay, I'm not going to lie, Gus's placement on this list was a very hard one to decide on the account of his story. So, before meeting Luz, he was a very talented student. He skipped a few grades and was really good with illusions. Unfortunately, as we learned in Labyrinth Runners, that could be a curse as well as a blessing. A literal curse, mind you, but just as bad. So one day he was doing a project with someone he wanted to be best friends with. Unfortunately, that older student took advantage of him and left poor Gus practically heartbroken. Ironically enough, that day he also befriended Willow. And of course, by then, made it Gus very difficult to actually trust and bond with people without having to prove himself, which is why at the human appreciation was at least noticed for something aside from his talent with magic. Luz showed up on his side. But even by then, he still struggled with some doubts about his capabilities with illusions and what they possess. He even beats himself up in terms of having positive relationships without being within the process. Can you imagine being stuck in a world where you were never meant to exist in the first place? Where your species was supposed to be extinct for a certain amount of years, and then you are tasked, well, forced into draining magic against your own will? That's definitely something we would describe as V's dramatic past. While we didn't exactly get the full scale of the experience and only had one flashback, I'm not dismissing the fact that V has been through a lot of trauma. They definitely had to hide out in the human world, forced to take on a brand new identity. At first taking on the form of Luz, because they were afraid of being found out of not being human and having to go back to the same situation that she was stuck in before. And on top of that, when she gets trapped by Jacob, her PTSD, I apologize if I use her in some of the pronouns, begins to freak out big time, resulting me into having a very negative attitude and giving up easily. It's no wonder. The poor creature has been through so much pain and misery that it always feels that everything she does is going to lead to an inevitable fate of her being captive. It does get better later on, but I put her further up on the list because she didn't have a whole lot of screen time, and we didn't exactly get the whole gist of her trauma. But I'm not dismissing the fact that what she's been through was pretty sad. powerless by being under her mother's frickin' thumb. Willow is practically the powerhouse of the Owl House. With her plant magic, she definitely was one heck of a contender when you have to face her off. However, in the beginning of the series, she came off as very shy and withdrawn. Understandably why. She was picked on left and right, first by Amity, her circle, and she is being picked on by the teacher.
I've always saved the best for last, Amity. You'll have to wait your turn. How about Willow?
Not half a witch. Wait. Homework for a month.
Passive aggressive much? Apparently, has been dealing with this day-to-day, having to go on a track that she is not good and forced to do so because she has no other options. It's not that she has options, it's just she can't find them because of the toxic society that everyone lives in. Willow was always doubting herself, feeling like she could never achieve anything. She always mess up, and no matter how hard she tried, no one's going to appreciate it, no one except us. So yeah, it's pretty understandable with the constant bullying that she has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and having to deal with magic that isn't her own. That's a very frustrating situation that a lot of us can feel like we can relate to. Of course, I couldn't have this list without a beloved, sad but bad boy. Later on, he just becomes sad. I mean,
I feel
poor
like
guy
I'm losing
deserves a
my
hug after
mind.
everything.
Is everybody in the
He
world
started off as the
blind?
Golden Guard,
Please,
feeling
Lord,
like he
give
was
me
on
a
top
sign,
because he was
a
a special
sign.
treatment. Thus, he gets
I
worse
feel like
from
I'm
there
losing
because
my
as we try to
mind.
save his
Is
uncle
everybody
by
in the
hunting
world
house.
blind?
Empire
Please, Lord, give me a sign,
finds himself questioning everything.
I wanna be the greatest.
His
Everybody on the
role
fake
as
shit. I look
rapper,
around and feel like
cutting,
everybody is the
his
fakest. I
uncle,
make this
and
every day and I'm impatient. Hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, no, this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
That he was
Is everybody in
which
the
is
world
supposedly
blind?
a
Please,
clone
Lord, give me
of
a
a
sign,
Philip.
a sign.
So, learning that there's nothing more than a copy.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Gives off
Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah, there's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the
and the consequences that came with it. Camila was a good mom to lose, but it didn't feel like that in the first episode. However, when you get to season 3, you learn about the reasoning behind the camp. It wasn't her idea in the first place, that was somebody else's. And she was so plunged in the fear of what she experienced when she was young, she was worried Luz was going to go through the same thing. But unknowingly, she was feeding fuel into the fire for Luz's thought process, which I will discuss later. Of course, it didn't help that she lost her own husband and now had to raise a kid all by herself for a certain amount of years by the sound of what Luz said in her diary. So it would make sense that she wants nothing more to protect her daughter, but in doing so, she winds up hurting her more. And you do feel bad, even if you're not the mom, you do feel bad about the situation she's just fridge. King was practically our lovable furball, a little crazy and obsessed with being the king of demons at the time. But when we learn about the truth of who he is, we do feel a bit bad for him. He was taken away from a small island that he was born on with nobody but a mechanical figure that he called Jean-Luc. Ida took him in and practically raised him as her own child. This resulted in him believing that he was once a mighty overlord ruling all of demonkind that somehow got shrunk down to this little adorable king. However, things take a turn when he learns the truth about who he is. He was born alone and had no particular connection to his birth parents, if he even had one at that time. So he had to adjust to the reality of who he was, a scared and lonely kid who just wanted to be loved and valued by all. In time, he was able to adjust. He wanted to know more about his parents as well as his powers, but it didn't change the fact that he had to do all of this on his own. Ida and Luz couldn't exactly help him. They did figure out who he was, a titan, the last of his kind. And of course, a lot of people are out and ready to kill him. It's by then that he is shook with this reality that he is the last of his kind and that he has to deal with learning about his abilities on his own. So yeah, this is a lot of pressure that someone his age has to deal with, being the only one of your kind. Just when you thought Aang had to deal with being the last airbender. From the get-go, Ida was always haunted by her past. She never seemed to let go of it and move on with her life. She would always talk about her glory days when she was in Hexside at the time. And she was a bit of an outcast even before she got her curse. When she did get her curse, it just got harder and harder for her to live with her parents, with Rain. It was so bad up to the point where she actually lived in a tower by herself with a deluded demonic king and a door demon or house demon Hootie all the time, and hiding herself from the Emperor's coven. Living with this curse practically affected her mental health, believing that it's nothing more than a nuisance, this thing she has to live with throughout her entire life. And it affected her relationships negatively up to the point where she was too scared to get close to anyone because her curse might wind up hurting people again. When Luz finally came into the picture, she did get some confidence to face her past, as well as come to terms with what happened. But it didn't erase the fact that most of her life had been a non-stop battle, and I put her down on this list because her mental struggle with the curse is relatable to those with disability, as many YouTubers have been pointing out in the past. I thought to do a twofer for this list because it was just hard to figure out who had the saddest and because actually they both have something in common. Here's what I mean. Luz starts off as this happy, cheerful girl who has a tendency of causing chaos wherever she went. It wasn't intentionally hurting people, it's just she gets a little carried away of trying to win approval from everyone. It wasn't until later on in season 3 that we learned more about her situation. She was always looked down on no matter what she did or didn't do. Her family was forced to move because her dad was sick and they had to go to a hospital two are probably the most sympathetic of all the characters because their struggles are not only relatable, but just that sense of loneliness that you would feel just by looking at their facial expressions alone is enough to kill you. So these are my thoughts, and I'd like to hear yours. Which characters do you think deserve a lot of hugs, kisses, and a boatload of ice cream? Comment, subscribe, and remember to hit a like button. This is Dragon Videos signing off.